I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, refereeing the hardest battle in my telecommunications career. This is the Samsung Galaxy S4. This is the HTC One. Let's put them together and see which one comes out on top. It's the most challenging dogfight I've had to do in my career at PhoneDog.com. It's the Samsung Galaxy S4, the HTC One, both Android powerhouses from their respective manufacturers and both Android champions in 2013. It's going to be a tough battle, so without further ado, let's get started in this epic head-to-head comparison. Before I do that, though, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like this for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile to get your S4 or your One, you'll walk out working. They'll help you set up your email, your web, your contacts, your settings, so when you walk out the door, you're good to go at Best Buy Mobile. Samsung Galaxy S4, HTC One, to give you a quick recap of specifications. This is the S4. It's got a 1.9 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 600 CPU in the United States. It's packing a 5-inch 1080p HD display with 441 pixels per inch, a 2,600 milliamp hour non-removable battery in the back that is 500 milliamp hours larger than the Samsung Galaxy S3. 13 megapixel camera with 1080p HD recording, Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean with TouchWiz, and a host of new software features that are absolutely incredible. So design-wise, kind of evolutionary in look and feel from the Galaxy S3. Software-wise, a huge change all around. And despite the fact that it is a bigger display, it's actually thinner, 7.9 millimeters, and lighter, 4.59 ounces versus the Galaxy S3. Here's the HTC One, a complete change for HTC with a gorgeous metal build quality and glass on the back. And specs-wise, it's packing a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 600 CPU, a 4.7-inch 1080p HD display with 469 pixels per inch. Bigger display, more PPI over here. It's got a 4 ultra pixel camera, so also, really when you look at it, a 4 megapixel camera, but lets in a lot more light, ideal in low light situations. It's something HTC is trying to do. They're trying to pull away from the megapixel myth and push forward with some great innovations like low light and a feature called HTC Zoe, which we'll talk about later in the dogfight. Front-facing camera as well with wider viewing angles so you can get more people in your front-facing shot. It's also got 2 gigabytes of RAM, as does the Galaxy S4, a 2,300 milliamp hour non-removable battery, and Android 4.1, also known as Jelly Bean, though it's the older version, with HTC Sense version 5, complete with HTC Blinkfeed, of which PhoneDog is a part of. Now, for more on the Galaxy S4, check out our product hub at PhoneDog.com/Galaxy S4. You can get your news, your videos, your reviews, and more, all from that simple page. Galaxy S4 is going to be available on Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Spire, US Cellular, and Cricket very soon in white and black, 16, 32, and 64 gigabyte configurations, depending on which one your carrier, or 2 or 3, your carrier decides to stock. Over here, HTC One available in silver now, black very soon, 32 and 64 gigabyte variants, depending also on which one your carrier decides to stock. So keep in mind here, even though these are both running Android, take a look at how different these look. Android 4.2 over here, 4.1 over here, and this one is a dramatic overhaul from what you remember from HTC in the past. Even recent devices like the HTC Droid DNA or the One X Plus, huge difference in HTC Sense 5. You're going to notice stuff out of the gate immediately. The clock, for example, sits at the top of the apps and can't be removed. When you're over at Blinkfeed, you've got a clock over here as well. Blinkfeed is fantastic. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Over here, if you've worked with the Galaxy S3 before, you're probably going to be familiar with the overall look and feel of the Galaxy S4. These are both Sprint devices, I should point out, and on the right side of the S4, you've got a volume rocker, micro USB charging port at the bottom, power button over on the right side, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack up top, and then over here, micro SIM card slot. You have to have a tool to remove. Off-center micro USB charging port. Then you've got a volume rocker over here. You get your power button up top, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack up top, and then you've got back and home, of which doubles up for a couple different things. You press and hold to activate Google Now, and then double tap to activate recent applications. Down here you got a physical button, much like the Galaxy S3 and the Note 2, and 2 capacitive buttons, menu and back down at the bottom. So let's take a look at the applications that come out of the gate here. These are both Sprint devices, I should add, and you're going to get Sprint applications for the most part out of the box. Typical Google integration, some Samsung and HTC stuff on both of these devices, but you're going to see the typical Sprint stuff here. Sprint Music Plus, Sprint TV and Movies, Sprint Worldwide on both of these, Sprint Zone, and then of course Sprint ID running underneath both of these devices. So let's start by taking a look at the display of these devices. 5-inch 1080p HD display over here with 441 pixels per inch, and like I said in the beginning, despite the fact that you'd think it'd be larger, it is a larger display. It's exactly the same size and actually thinner and lighter than the Samsung Galaxy S3. So bringing the S3 over for comparison's sake, you can see both of these are easy to fit in the hand. So don't be swayed by the larger display on the Galaxy S3 if you're used to the the S4. If you're used to the S3, you can take advantage of the S4 and not have any sort of learning curve in the overall design of the device. Now, plastic on both of these devices, though I will say the Galaxy S4 has Gorilla Glass 3, so this is going to be a durable device, and if you've watched anything on the internet with the knife tests that's making its way around the internet right now on the Galaxy S4, you can tell it's a durable device. So don't write off the plastic because you don't think it's durable. In fact, metal might be the one that's more prone to bending, or denting I should say, or glass cracking. The HTC One, though, absolutely gorgeous. A little bit more of a curved nature in the back here, so it fits a little bit differently into the hand, and of course travel on this device is pretty decent as well. It's packing a 4.7-inch 1080p HD display with 469 pixels per inch, so on the pixels per inch ratio, the HTC One wins. That said, more screen real estate over on the Galaxy S4, and I'll tell you, it's absolutely gorgeous. After working with the S3 and the Note 2 as long as we have, it is a night and day difference on the display front, and it's kind of hard to see here in camera, but I'll go ahead and try and show you using, for example, the Play Store icons. We'll put these together and see if we can bring them up so you can at least take a look at what these look like side by side. We'll bring Play Store up here, and we'll bring Play Store up here, and you can really just tell the difference. And the camera may not do it justice, as I often say, but it's an absolutely gorgeous display and huge differences from the S3 and the Note 2. After working with this device for almost a week, it's hard to go back to using the Note 2 or working with the Galaxy S3 just because of the display. Now, Android 4.2 over here, Android 4.1 over here, huge software innovations over on the Samsung side. For example, AirView over here, we can click on this and take a look, and some great software value adds, and they continue on the Galaxy S4, and they've actually gotten better in a lot of cases. Samsung has taken the S3, the Note 2, and the Note 8.0 and kind of fused some of the great stuff of all of those together into the Galaxy S4. Information preview, progress preview, speed dial preview, and web page magnifier are all part of AirView now. So for example, I can come into Gallery and take a look at the Galaxy S4's Gallery. Say that 3 times fast, the Galaxy S4's Gallery. And I can do the motion stuff, which I'll show you in just a second, but this is super cool. I can hover over it without actually touching it, much like the Note 2's S Pen, and see what's in the album without actually opening it up. I can do that with all of these. And then of course, there's the motion stuff as well. I can swipe back and forth between pictures without actually touching the display. It's a fantastic feature as well. Now, the HTC device doesn't have these features. What it does have is Blinkfeed and HTC Zoe, and we'll talk about those in just a second. So we'll go in here to Settings, and we'll go back and take a look at Smart Screen, and you can see Smart Scroll, which is another favorite on the Galaxy S4, where when your eyes have been detected, the screen will scroll according to whatever angle you want it to go. So up or down, we can use a web page, for example, and we'll actually load up the web browsing on both of these so we can take a comparison here. And I should point out, Samsung and the HTC both have LTE capabilities. HTC One, Samsung Galaxy S4 on Sprint, and Sprint does have 4G LTE in the Dallas Metroplex, so you are getting 4G LTE speeds, although I will say I've had some issues in my office with both of these devices. HTC also has boom sound speakers on the front, which I think is a fantastic idea because you can listen to your music and the speakers aren't on the back, so it's actually projecting out towards you, which is a great benefit. But what I was going to say with this, you can see when it detects my eyes, this will light up green, and it's kind of hard to do on camera, as I've discovered today as I'm shooting all these videos. Let's see if we can get this to show up. And there we go. So I go up, down, up, and let's see what else we can do here. Down. And you get the idea with that. And then of course I can use my gestures, my air gestures, to move back and forth between active windows. And of course I can use my fingers to scroll up and down. So they've taken those software value adds to a whole new level with the Samsung Galaxy S4. Otherwise, pinch and zoom, very responsive over on both the HTC One and on the Galaxy S4. These are both running Snapdragon 600 CPUs. For more on these devices, individual performance, look and feel, be sure to check out the reviews of both of these. The Dogfight is more about head-to-head comparison between features on the two devices. And I just moved that back. Let's go ahead and go back to PhoneDog. There we go. And so you can see, again, HTC Keyboard here. And the HTC Keyboard, huge changes in the look and feel of this keyboard. And you can see how fast this device is all around. Love the keyboard over here. This is one area Samsung still needs to improve on. Their keyboard is not the best in the world by any stretch of the imagination. And actually, to get a better idea, let's go ahead and jump into messaging on both of these devices and take a look at our sample messages, for example. And I can say, hey, the quick brown fox, I'll just say, hey, the quick brown fox. One thing that really annoys me about Samsung's keyboard, I should say, is it's incredibly hard. It doesn't actually autocorrect stuff. So let's say I say jumps and I do a D. It realizes that it's jumps that I'm trying to say, but when I hit space, it doesn't give me the option to autocorrect. And there is no setting that I can find to actually enable autocorrection. It is so frustrating on this keyboard. That said, love the 5-inch display. I think for a lot of people, it's going to be an incredible sweet spot. People that find the Note 2 to be too big, but maybe find the Galaxy S3 or even the HTC One display to be just a little bit too small. You'll be pretty happy with the 5-inch display over here. So the quick brown fox is happy that it is Tuesday. And very, very nice to use. The autocorrect is fantastic on this. This is the best HTC keyboard and actually one of my new favorite Android keyboards. Didn't care for Sense 4's keyboard. Sense 4 Plus got progressively better. This is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite features about this device, believe it or not, is the keyboard. Really impressed all around with the look and feel of that. But also, to go ahead and continue to jump back here, we'll talk about some of the value adds you get over on HTC as well. This is called HTC Blinkfeed, and basically where HTC is trying to angle this, they're saying, you know what, you're at the bus stop, you're getting into a cab, you pull out your phone, you got about 20 seconds. It's hard to log into Facebook and Twitter and really see anything in 20 seconds. What Blinkfeed's intended to do is aggregate your news, your Facebook, your Twitter, and bring it all together into this really clean, beautiful looking feed. I should actually add PhoneDog is part of this feed as well. So if you have an HTC One, be sure to go find us in HTC Blinkfeed. But really impressed with the look and feel of this. It's fluid. It's very much like a flipboard alternative for HTC, but it comes out of the box. So when you turn this phone on for the first time, this is what you're going to see, and then you're going to see one Android home screen. You can have up to 5 Android home screens, including Blinkfeed, so 4 blank home screens, whereas over here, you can have the usual 7 home screens on the Samsung Galaxy S4. And of course, you got your widgets that you would expect on both, and you see some minor changes on both units. For example, you'll notice the clock widget has been enhanced on the Galaxy S4, as has it on the HTC One as well. Both are different from their predecessors. Nice, new, clean look and feel. But Blinkfeed's really nice. You can scroll back and forth through these news articles, I should say, and take advantage, not the nude articles, the news articles, and scroll back and forth and see, you know what, let's look at this one, for example, from Engadget. Be Awed by Skyrim. You can read through it, click back, and you can jump in the cab and quickly see the news as you want to see it without having to actually open the application. That's a great benefit here. And of course, you get personalization choices on both of these devices. We'll go back into messaging so you can see here. Not only can I customize the text boxes, let's go down here into settings as well. Actually, not notifications, I'm sorry. General, and we'll go down here. Change the bubbles on both units. And there's some new bubbles here versus the Galaxy S3 and the Note 2. I can change those bubbles around. I can also change the background, and I can do the same thing over here on the HTC One. I can set a custom background image. I can change the colors as well. Pink, that sounds cool. And I can go back through here, not to be confused with the popular singer. Change the background style, Shazam, and I can see how those look. So really some customization on both of these devices to really make them all about you. Stay tuned for part 2 of this dogfight, and be sure to check the link right here for part 2. Once this video is uploaded, we'll throw in a YouTube link right around here. Just click it and it'll take you right to part 2 of this video. Stay tuned. We're going to cover quadrant standard, speed tests, and more on PhoneDog.com between the Samsung Galaxy S4 and the HTC One.